Here's a book called I Am Jackie Robinson. It's written by Brad Meltzer and illustrated by Christopher Eliopoulos. I Am Jackie Robinson by Brad Meltzer and illustrated by Christopher Eliopoulos. I am Jackie Robinson. Sometimes it's hard to be brave. My mother was brave, and she liked brave people. When I was born, the youngest of 5 kids, she even named me after someone brave. His middle name will be Roosevelt, Jack Roosevelt Robinson. Why Roosevelt? A brother asked. After President Teddy Roosevelt, he fought to make sure black people were treated the same as everyone else. That's a lot for little Jackie to live up to. You see, I'm not worried, she said. But having a brave name doesn't make you a brave person. In fact, as a kid, I didn't like sleeping alone. I used to sleep in my mom's bed. Even when she tried to bribe me, I wouldn't leave. I'll give you a quarter to go sleep in your room. No, not a chance. One of my scariest moments came when I was 8 years old. I was outside, and a girl from across the street called me a terrible name. I was so mad, I yelled the name right back at her. Her father came running immediately. He didn't like it that a black boy was standing up to his white daughter. We were the only black family on our block. I don't remember who threw the first rock, but the fight was on. Me versus her dad. I had a good arm, but no one wants to win in a rock fight. Eventually, the girl's mother came out and broke it up. Like I said, the world can be a scary place. But even as a kid, there is one thing that always made me happy. Sports. And winning at sports, okay, that's 2 things. I love playing everything. Baseball, football, basketball, soccer, marbles, even dodgeball. All the kids would get in a circle, white, black, Hispanic, Asian. We all played together. The rules were simple. If the ball hits you, you're out. I duck, I jump, I leap, I of course throw, and throw, and throw. They weren't mad at me for winning. They appreciated the skill it took. Those childhood games were some of the only times I wasn't judged by the color of my skin. Still, that didn't make all of my problems go away. At the local public pool in Brookside Park, you could only go swimming if you were white. If your skin was black, they locked you out. When people complained, they gave us 1 day each week, Wednesday. Every Wednesday from 2 to 5, they opened the pool to anyone, black, Mexican, or Asian. So how do you win when you feel like you're fighting the entire world? My mother, who worked as a maid, showed me the answer. Back then, we were so poor, we sometimes ate only 2 meals a day. To help us out every Saturday night, the local bakery would let us take their leftovers. And the milkman, back when milk was delivered to your house, would give us whatever extra he had. We weren't the only ones struggling for money. My mom took the extra food and shared it with all our neighbors. That's how we got to be friends with everyone in the neighborhood. It was one of my mom's best lessons. When you do something good, it brings out the good in others. Plus, the more our neighbors got to know us, the more they realized just how much black people and white people were alike. I learned a similar lesson from a local mechanic named Carl Anderson. He saw the group of boys I used to hang out with. We called ourselves the Pepper Street Gang. We were a bunch of poor kids. For fun, we'd throw dirt claws at cars and swipe golf balls from the local golf course. When he saw what we were doing, he took me aside. He did not lose his temper, calm as he could be. He told me, "You're following the wrong crowd. You're afraid they'll think you're different or chicken. But it doesn't take guts to follow the crowd. Courage comes from being willing to be different. What Mr. Anderson said that day, it got to me. With the help of my pastor, I stopped hanging out with that gang. From there, I threw myself even deeper into my favorite activity. Sports. And winning at sports, especially baseball. As a teenager, I could run so fast, a local reporter noticed that in nearly every game I stole second, third, and home at least once. In college, I became the first UCLA student ever to letter in 4 sports in the same season: baseball and football and basketball and track. It means I was on all 4 teams to letter in that sport. But the same problems kept coming back. When the college newspaper wrote a nice article about me, one of my own white teammates purposely smashed into my leg trying to injure me. He was mad that the article said something nice about a black person. By the time I got out of the Army, it still didn't matter that I was one of the best athletes in the country. If you wanted to play professional sports, you had to be white. Back then, if you were the world champs, it meant you were the white champs. In all of Major League Baseball, not a single team had even one black player. Oh, and did I mention that if you were on a black team, the pay was worse, the food was worse, and sometimes the only place to sleep, that was on the bus. Thanks to a man named Branch Rickey. Rickey was president of the Brooklyn Dodgers, one of the most popular teams ever. He said, "I have an idea." With so many players fighting in the World War II, Rickey had a plan for filling his team. He said the Dodgers secretly will look at black players. After searching all across the United States and the world, Branch Rickey found me. "I'm Jackie Robinson. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you. I think you can play in the major leagues. How do you feel about that?" Mr. Rickey told me that he knew I was a good ball player, but he wanted to know whether I had the guts. He warned me that many white people would be mad to see a black player. Can you handle it? On April 18th, 1946, at 27 years old, I was given my shot. At Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City, New Jersey, I played my first official game for the Montreal Royals, the Brooklyn Dodgers farm team. Thousands of black spectators had come to see what I could do. Thousands of white people were there too, convinced that a black player couldn't possibly be as good as a white one. It was up to me to prove them wrong. You better believe I was terrified. I didn't want to let people down. Then at 3:04 p.m. in the afternoon, in my first at-bat, I was thrown out at first. The next time I came up was in the 3rd inning. There were 2 men on base. The pitcher decided on a fastball. I could still see it coming, chest high, down the middle. But this time, when the ball finally landed 340 feet away in the left field stands, no one could say that a black man can't play as well as a white man. Some called it a home run. Others called it history. That afternoon, in 5 at-bats, I hit and got on base 4 times. I stole second twice, and I scored 4 runs. When the game was over, I couldn't get to the locker room because I was so mobbed by fans. Black, white, young, old, even the folks rooting for the other team, they were cheering for me. Still, that doesn't mean it was easy. When I started playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers, lots of players didn't want to be there. They didn't want me to be there. Pitchers threw fastballs at my head. Runners stepped on me with their cleats. Catchers even spit on my shoes. And they weren't just coming after me. They told me if I kept playing, they'd hurt my son. Was I mad? Yes. Was I scared? Yes. But I never let it stop me. Game after game I kept playing, knowing I wasn't just playing for myself. Each time, more and more people, black and white, were cheering. In the stands, fans wore "I'm for Jackie" buttons. And slowly, eventually, we were all playing together. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, baseball opened up to everyone. It was just like those childhood games of dodgeball. Though through the simple game of baseball, the country saw a new possibility, a new option. All they needed was for someone to go first. In life, people tried to scare me. They wanted to stop me. They wanted to make me go away. Why? Because I was different. Each time I wanted to fight back, but for real change to come, you need to lead by example. Being a leader takes bravery. But remember this, no one is born brave. No matter how big or small you are, there will always be things that scare you. It's okay to be afraid. Just don't let it stop you. There is real power in each and every one of us. Use that power to do what's right. Use that power for a cause that you believe in. And most of all, use that power to lead and help others. I am Jackie Robinson. I will always lead the way, and I hope you will too. When others see your example, they'll stand with you. It's the way, the only way, the world ever gets changed. Together. I am Jackie Robinson.